If you trap a wild wolf in a pristine, climate-controlled enclosure, feed it premium meat on a predictable schedule, and eliminate every single threat to its daily survival, a bizarre anomaly occurs. The animal does not thrive in this artificial paradise. Instead, it rapidly and systematically deteriorates. It begins to pace in rhythmic, endless circles, biting its own paws until they bleed, its eyes wide with a desperate, unfocused hypervigilance. Its internal threat assessment mechanism remains perfectly intact, but it has absolutely nothing in its immediate environment left to assess. The environment is flawless. The wolf goes completely insane. We look at that caged animal with deep pity, completely blind to the tragic fact that we are currently staring at this exact same reality through a glowing glass rectangle held in our own hands. You sit in a room with a precisely regulated temperature, protected by thick concrete walls, with sustenance available at the mere touch of a digital button, yet your heart is hammering violently against your ribs. Your palms are sweating, your neck muscles are locked into iron knots, and a heavy, low-grade current of cortisol is quietly poisoning your bloodstream. There is no predator outside your door. There is no winter famine on the horizon. This is the great evolutionary paradox of the modern world. We are dying of safety. Consider the distinct possibility that the persistent gray cloud of emptiness you feel every morning is not a chemical imbalance or a personal failure. The research suggests otherwise. What if it is actually the flawless operation of a highly advanced biological machine that suddenly realizes it has absolutely nothing left to fight for? We have pathologized a normal biological response to a deeply abnormal environment. We call it an anxiety disorder, when it might just be your hunter-gatherer neurology screaming at the total absence of real life-and-death friction. If this resonates with your daily reality, look at your life honestly and answer this in the comments below. When was the last time your nervous system was activated by a genuine physical threat to your survival, rather than a corporate deadline, a bad performance review, or an ambiguous text message? Most of us cannot remember. We are trapped. For more than 300,000 years, the Homo sapiens blueprint was forged in the furnace of brutal, relentless environmental friction. Survival was an active, high-stakes mathematical equation requiring constant caloric calculation, acute spatial awareness, and instant crisis response deployment. When our ancestors heard a sharp rustle in the tall grass, their pupils instantly dilated, adrenaline flooded their cardiovascular system, and non-essential metabolic processes shut down to divert every ounce of energy directly to the skeletal muscles. This was a magnificent, life-saving design. It kept us alive. But here is the part almost nobody quotes. The human body was explicitly engineered for acute, short-term spikes of terrifying stress, followed by prolonged periods of genuine physical recovery and deep communal connection. Today, that elegant mechanism is completely broken. Something else is going on beneath the surface of our hyper-connected, hyper-isolated society. When your phone vibrates with an urgent email from your employer at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night, your brain does not register an administrative task. It registers a lethal predator approaching the camp. Your physiological response is entirely identical to facing a saber-toothed cat. Your liver releases glucose, your blood pressure surges, and your body prepares for violent physical exertion. But you do not run. You do not fight. You simply sit on your memory foam mattress, staring at the screen, your thumbs twitching slightly as your breath grows shallow. The crisis response stalls. The toxic cocktail of stress hormones remains trapped inside your tissues, with no physical release valve to clear the biological slate. This is the definition of the evolutionary mismatch theory. We are operating 30,000-year-old software on 21st century hardware. The system is crashing. To understand how deep this anomaly goes, we have to look closely at what anthropologists call the self-domestication syndrome. When biologists domesticate wild animals over several generations, a predictable suite of physical changes always emerges across species. Their jaws shorten, their teeth shrink, their coats develop white patches, and their ears become floppy. But the most chilling transformation happens inside the skull. Their brains shrink significantly, specifically the areas responsible for threat detection, spatial navigation, and independent decision-making. Domestication explicitly trades raw intelligence and sensory acuity for compliance, safety, and predictability. This quietly rewrites the whole narrative of human progress. When we look at fossil records from 40,000 years ago, during the Upper Paleolithic era, Early humans possessed a cranial capacity that was roughly 10% larger than ours today. Our brains are shrinking. We did not just domesticate dogs, horses, and cattle to serve our needs. We did it to ourselves. We selected for docility, for predictability, and for the collective ability to live in highly dense, tightly controlled agricultural settlements. We traded the expansive, razor-sharp awareness of the apex hunter for the soft, compliant psychology of the herd. We are smaller. The historical trajectory is clear, but the biological consequences are only now catching up to us in real time. We are living through the ultimate behavioral sink, an artificial environment where every natural instinct is subverted, leaving our deepest evolutionary drives entirely unfulfilled. If you want to keep exploring the hidden biology of our world and decode the strange paradoxes of human nature, subscribe, because we are just scratching the surface of what we have lost. In the mid-20th century, a researcher named John Calhoun conducted a series of famous experiments known as Universe 25. He created a utopian environment for mice, providing unlimited food, endless water, perfect nesting materials, and a total absence of predators or disease. It was a flawless paradise. The population grew rapidly at first, but then something catastrophic happened long before the physical space was fully saturated. The social structure completely collapsed. The mice lost the ability to court mates, defend territory, or care for their young. A class of mice emerged that researchers called the beautiful ones. They did nothing but eat, sleep, and groom themselves. They lost all capacity for aggression, social cooperation, or resilience. Eventually, the entire colony ceased reproduction altogether and went completely extinct. They had every resource. They died anyway. The lesson of Universe 25 is a biological mirror reflecting our modern metropolis. When you eliminate all external friction, the organism turns its defensive architecture inward. The threat assessment software begins to scan the internal environment for bugs, fabricating threats out of thin air. Social media arguments become existential tribal wars. Minor inconveniences trigger full-blown panic attacks. A lack of wireless connection causes the same physiological dread that an ancestral hunter would feel when lost in a barren, frozen desert. We are hyperstimulated, yet profoundly underutilized. It is a toxic state of being. This explains why modern humans are so deeply obsessed with manufactured struggle. We simulate the wild because our DNA remembers the truth. Consider why millions of people willingly pay money to run through freezing mud, climb artificial walls, and endure electric shocks in obstacle courses. Consider why we watch horrifying true crime documentaries or play hyper-realistic video games where we hunt and fight for virtual survival. Our ancient neurology is starving for biological friction. It is begging for a scenario where our actions have immediate, life-or-death consequences. We are trying to wake up the sleeping predator inside us. The soul demands gravity. But a simulated struggle can only satisfy the nervous system for a brief moment. The minute the video game turns off or the mud run ends, you walk back into your climate-controlled apartment, step onto your engineered hardwood floors, and the crushing weight of the domestic cage settles over you once again. You are safe from the cold, safe from starvation, safe from the dark. Yet you feel a profound, haunting grief that you cannot put into words. It is the grief of a captured creature. Imagine a conversation between an ancient hunter from 40,000 years ago and a modern office worker sitting in a cubicle today. What occupies your mind during the rising sun? I must find clean water, track the deer herd, and ensure the fire does not die out before winter arrives. And what occupies yours? I must respond to 40 unread messages, update a digital spreadsheet, and maintain a pleasant expression so my supervisor approves my vacation request. The hunter would look at us with absolute bewilderment, not understanding how a creature with unlimited food and shelter could possess eyes so utterly hollowed out by despair. He would recognize the expression immediately. It is the look of a beast caught in a snare. The ultimate irony of our species is that we spent thousands of generations successfully solving the problems of survival, only to find that survival was the very thing keeping us sane. We conquered the wilderness, paved over the forests, neutralized the predators, and built a world where physical effort is entirely optional. We won the evolutionary game. Now we are left to wander the empty halls of our victory, wondering why we feel so profoundly lost. Look around your immediate environment right now. Look at the plastic trim, the acoustic ceiling tiles, the ergonomic chair, the pristine, sanitized surfaces that shield you from the dirt and chaos of the natural world. You have successfully escaped the wild. You are entirely safe. But as you sit there, feeling that familiar, low-grade restlessness vibrating deep within your chest, you must ask yourself the final, terrifying question. If the cage is perfect and you are miserable inside it, who is going to let you out? Answer in comments.